Hey, friends! 90s Connery is always interesting, since he was starring in various types of roles that just seemed to interest him. And I have a Connery picture for you this time that may have fallen by the wayside. This time we're talking about A Good Man in Africa from 1994. Our story goes like this. Morgan is a minor British civil servant stationed in an African country, and he's unhappy. He's stuck in this post and desperately wants a better assignment. To that end, he drinks too much and sleeps around. It's implied he's only using his native girlfriend as a convenience, but then she's doing the same thing since he's paying for the crappy apartment she lives in. To add to his troubles, Morgan's boss is arriving, and this leads to Morgan getting all tangled up in diplomatic troubles. Turns out there's oil in this country, and the Brits want it, so his boss sticks Morgan with the job of winning over the corrupt politician who can sign over the leases to the British. This politician is running on an anti-corruption platform while being totally corrupt himself. Along the way, he meets Dr. Murray, a cantankerous expat treating the locals. They have run-in after run-in. Morgan needing a big favor Murray is not disposed to grant. One thing leads to another, and Morgan has problem after problem heaped upon him. Can Morgan sail through the stormy waters and succeed, or will he meet with diplomatic disaster? In our cast, we have Colin Friels as Morgan, Sean Connery as Dr. Murray, Lou Gossett Jr. as the corrupt African politician, John Lithgow as Franshaw, the boss, and Diana Rigg as his wife. Over the years, I'd seen bits of this one, but not for a long time, and I never saw the whole picture. I vaguely remember liking it, but anyway, I finally sat down to screen the movie in its entirety. So, is it any good? Well, I'm really torn. I want to say yes, but something just doesn't work here. The movie is supposed to be a comedy, or at least have a comedic edge, where one problem leads to another and another, like links in a chain, and it's supposed to get funnier and funnier. But instead, this one lands kind of flat. Director Bruce Beresford said he knew he was in trouble by the second day of shooting. He realized that the source material, the original novel, was very funny, but that didn't translate to the script. The book is very anecdotal, and the script just didn't convey that in the best way. It's odd because the screenwriter was the book's author, but maybe that in itself was the problem. And Beresford had lived in Africa, so he knew that South Africa, where the movie was shot, was vastly different from West Africa, where the story takes place. He said it was the difference between Alaska and New Orleans. So while you or I might not know the difference, he did, and he wasn't happy about it. Although he felt the picture was miscast, the cast is the strongest point in the movie's favor, if you ask me. The characterizations are very good. I liked Friels as the hapless civil servant. His character isn't as likable as he should have been, maybe, but Friels is fine. Connery is also fine, of course. I liked him in this. Lou Gossett Jr. is very good as the African politician, and John Lithgow steals the show as the uptight British diplomat. He's a lot of fun here. And the picture looks good. It's very competently shot and directed. But in spite of all that, something just didn't gel. The movie isn't as funny as it needed to be or could have been. Usually in this kind of thing, even if they're adversarial at first, the older man winds up being a sort of mentor for the younger guy to look up to. and both learn to respect one another and both grow from the relationship. That kinda happens here, but not really. Morgan and Murray run into each other on several occasions. They interact, but what's the upshot? Their relationship builds, but by the end, never seems to be fully formed. Connery almost comes off as a side character in this, although he was prominent on the posters and the advertising and all the rest. The denouement half comes out of nowhere. It seems sorta tacked on and random. Has Morgan grown or not? I guess, but it isn't very clear, and if he has, how and why and what form does that growth take? And it's an ending that kinda leaves you hanging. It's too bad all the way around because, for whatever reason, you want to like this movie. There's something in it that is good. But in the end, this one leaves you feeling like something is missing, like maybe they must have cut 15 or 20 minutes of footage that would have fleshed things out. The picture just needed something more to it, an element that isn't there which would have tied everything together. I'm giving A Good Man in Africa 1 3/4 paws. As I say, I really wanted to like this one too. I think it could have worked, it could have been very good, but it needed a serious rewrite to punch the script up. The cast is great, and there are some good moments, so there's that, but they just don't lead to anything. The movie's not terrible, but it could have been better. You take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.